with, which is also about grief, and also has very little that you could call plot in the conventional sense. It's a kind of tone poem. And I love that kind of cinema, and I love cinema that makes use of the human face, and I love cinema that makes use of things other than 3 acts and, you know, a kind of conventional MacGuffin.
There's a scene at the beginning of the film that makes it clear that everything about it is going to be very distinctive looking. It's a scene where you walk through snow very deliberately to the It's a Dream. You know that better than I do, but to the scene of a car accident.
Yeah.
And it's the walking is almost like a kind of sleepwalking. Were things like that? Did he tell you exactly how he wanted that? Or?
No, he didn't actually. Funnily enough, I've actually questioned whether I should have made that choice, and whether it should have been so almost balletic. You know,
It's very eerie. It really works, but
well, you know, maybe it does, and I trust Tom's judgment, and he wanted to use it, and he used it. And
had you ever done anything like that before?
Well, I've done lots of things that are not like anything, and I think this is not really. I mean, I have been involved in dream sequences in which your movement is required to be different and to change. I think it has to be unearthly. I think it has to not seem like a part of daily life. I mean, I think if you're acting out dreams, you have to find a convention for that. And I think that this is an area where I just had to trust him. He was the man behind the camera. He was the man who was going to be in the cutting room. He was the man who was going to choose the music, and he was the man who was going to ultimately decide the pace of the film. And so Tom had a way of directing you by either accepting or rejecting what you gave him. If he intervened verbally, it was to provide a nugget. It was never to tussle with you or to upset the process or to try to provoke anything.
Did you have any input along the lines of, I think I should be wearing glasses in this film? You did?
Well, glasses is actually the one. I said, I think I should be wearing glasses.
Really?
Yes.
I just guessed that.
That wasn't, well, we did not plan that. Yes, that was one. And funnily enough, given that Tom is famous for eyewear, I had some concern when the film came out that it would be yet another thing that would be attributed to Tom's idea of style. And believe me, it wasn't. That was one of the few things Tom resisted a little bit.
Why did you want that?
Well, I didn't think I want to wear glasses throughout the movie. Basically, there were options. I walked into a room, and he were ties and shoes, and here was the suit, and I don't remember there being much choice about what the suit would be. But I remember there being certain accessories, and there was the props guys just brought out a tray with some glasses and said, you know, do you feel like you might wear glasses when you read or something? And I looked through them, and I've resisted them quite a lot. A lot of directors, director of photography doesn't like them usually because of reflections, and then there are directors who think no, it creates a barrier, and then there'll be people who say no, it's a kind of it's a crutch, it's an acting crutch, it's something to try to artificially enhance what you're doing, or whatever. But I just happened to find these, and they just kind of I picked them up, and it's almost like they vibrated. I just thought, and I tried them on, and thought I really, they just instinctively go with my perception of this guy, and I want to wear them. At the time, it was just maybe I'd have a couple of scenes where I'd put them on for reading. And then those couple of scenes, that was allowed, and those couple of scenes became another scene and another one. And then just Tom gradually, I mean, when I say gradually, we shot this movie in 21 days, so nothing was really gradual, but probably after lunch of the first day or something. Tom saw me in them and said, I think wear them in this scene if you want. And I said, really? And he said, yeah, I think you like them, so wear them. And that was the way he did things. It was, if you want, if you like, if that makes you feel. And so you always felt you were in control. I look back, I know he was totally in control all the time.
There has been some talk about the way the movie has been marketed, with showing scenes of you with her, and some people have said, not me, of course, but some people have said that gives a misleading impression that this is actually about a heterosexual relationship, when really it's about a man who's lost the man he loved.
Well,
Want to answer that?
I don't know. It's difficult for me to comment on the marketing thing. Yeah, possibly.
But you know, there's been a
maybe there's still a fear out there that the idea that it's about a gay man makes it a kind of niche thing. That will that'll stop it reaching certain markets and certain areas of Middle England, Middle America, Middle anywhere. I don't know. And maybe they're right, but I don't want it to be that. I mean, there were no compromises in Christopher Isherwood. There were no compromises in the way Tom wrote it or directed it. There were no compromises in anything we did. And I would hate to think there were any compromises in the way it was marketed. There was a bit of a fuss about the trailer because it features a kiss between myself and Matthew Good. And there was a version, I think, that came out that took the kiss out. And there were various members of the press who questioned that, and I was asked about it. And then looking back on that, yeah, I would hate to think that, again, there's nothing to sanitize here. But on the other hand, that's the only kiss between men in the movie, and it's not a trailer is supposed to give you a taster for the film, and that doesn't do that, and it probably misrepresents it a little bit as being heavily to do with sexual contact, of which there is absolutely none. So these are gray areas, I think, which can get picked over and argued over and all the rest of it. But yeah.
Beyond the fact that he is a gay man, he's lost the man that he's been with for 16 years. He meets a couple of other men during the course of the film. Do you see this as a particularly gay or universal, or what kind of love story do you see it as?
Certainly not particularly gay. I don't really think that. I mean, it doesn't ignore the fact, and it certainly applies.
It makes him more secretive, or have to be more secretive.
Yeah. It does. It makes it, but people are secretive about their sexuality in one way or another generally anyway, unless they're Italian. Sorry, that's a dig at my wife. No, it's. I think people. Not everybody flaunts their sexuality, but I take your point. I think that certainly in 1962, he's a college professor. It might have made people more suspicious of him. I certainly, in the 70s, when I was a teenage schoolboy, the idea that anybody might be gay also implied that they might also be some kind of predator. That those are the kind of prejudices. And I think we live with those less now in our society.
One of the few things that's distinctly, I think, gay in the writing is that there's a young student who gets a crush on, or becomes interested in being helpful and getting to know your character better. And a woman might be just as aggressive, but would probably do it in a different way. Wouldn't say, I want to help you, come out for a drink with me, have you ever taken drugs, things.
Possibly, but a young male student might do it with an older female professor.
Yeah.
So, you can juggle this around. I still think you could find a very, very similar story without it being a gay theme. I think it might add somewhat to George's isolation, but I don't think it's dependent on it. And, I think one of the most interesting and progressive aspects to Christopher Isherwood's writing was the fact that he put no emphasis whatsoever on the sexuality of his characters, and yet he wrote about their sexuality. But their sexual orientation was not an issue at all. It was just by the by. I mean, these were people who happened to be gay, or not.
Why are the heterosexuals in the movie